Evil dies tonight! Evil dies tonight! Evil dies tonight! Now, it's been a while since I've done a formal Halloween movie review, but I have to do it because I made a review of 2018 It Ends so long ago, so it's always been on my burn-in bucket list. I need to complete the David Gordon Green trilogy. So that's why we're going to be discussing Halloween Kills in this format. I have lots of ideas for little minute video ideas based off Halloween Kills and other Halloween movies in the future. So stay tuned to check that out. But if you want to see more actual movie reviews, let me know because I'm having more fun making more topical ideas on the franchise. And the sad thing for Halloween Kills is if I made my movie review when I should have, when I first made the channel, when I made the 2018 It Ends review, it would have been completely different in not only approach, but my thoughts on the movie. As you see, I have Halloween Kills in the background. I was a huge fan of Halloween Kills when the movie came out. Now, I still like it. I'm still a fan of it. I love all these movies. Even the movies in the Halloween franchise that I don't really like, I still love. That is something I talked about in my Why I Love Michael Myers video, is that no matter what, it just seems like us Halloween fans, us Friday the 13th fans, us whatever fans of these horror icons, we are obsessed with these guys, even with a lot of the flaws in a lot of the movies. But me, when I first saw this movie, I was elated. Like, the second the credits hit and the music starts playing, I was like, adrenaline rush in awe. And I looked to my left and my right, and my two cousins saw it with me. My one cousin hated it, and I was mad. I was so mad. The other cousin liked it, but my one cousin hated it. And I was like, what did you not love about it? That was awesome. You had the Michael Myers flashback scene. You have most insane kills. Michael is one of the best Michaels in the entire franchise. I love the mask. I love the music. This is one of the best musical scores, I think, in the entire franchise. Now, Halloween is known for their score, so that's big praise, but I felt like this one suited it so well to this movie, and it's just like, it really amps you up. Like, it's one that I like to listen to a lot if I'm, like, maybe working out or something like that. Like, some of the beats of Halloween Kills, it's just rock and roll, like, adrenaline rush. But I have found myself over time not feeling in the mood to rewatch this one as much compared to some of the others. Granted, I get like that a lot of the time. Sometimes I'll watch lesser movies just cuz, right? I don't know. I get into habits where I like certain Halloween movies more than others. But I rewatch Halloween Kills twice now in the past week or two, and even thrown around in the background a few times. I'm someone that rewatches Halloween constantly, and I'll just throw different movies in the background while I'm doing something else. But I legitimately watched it twice, and I still like it. But the flaws that I've been hearing preached to the choir over the last, was it 4 years now? Did it come out in 2021? Yeah, 4 years, which is crazy, by the way. I'm starting to notice it. Now, I was always a defender of Halloween Kills, but the glaring flaw that I always never liked was the hospital scene. The hospital scene is way too drawn out. It is way too long. And the guy that all the mob mentality people assume to be Michael Myers looks like Danny DeVito's Penguin, right, in Batman Returns. That's a joke. Looks nothing like Michael Myers. How can you guys be that dumb? You think this is the guy that everyone's afraid of that's killing everybody? And you think he just run around aimlessly in the hospital waiting to get slaughtered? It is dumb. It makes no sense. I have always been someone where you should have had Nick Castle. I think would have been a nice Easter egg homage if you made him the guy that the mob was all going after and thinking he was the real Michael Myers, because technically he is in canon from the original movie, right? So that would have been cool, and it would actually looked like him. It's like, oh, okay, we actually mistaked a guy that we didn't actually know, whatever. It would have actually made more sense for what they're going for. The guy that they went for, it's just ridiculous. It's like, come on, anyone with half a brain would have noticed that. But I guess the theme of the movie was people weren't supposed to have a brain. The evil dies tonight chant is something that I didn't think was that big a deal when it happened, and I don't still think it's a big deal fully now. I do think it's overplayed. I think it's kind of funny. I think it's kind of iconic. The good in this movie definitely outweighs the bad for me. There's more pros than there's cons. You have one of the greatest Michael Myers, as I said before. You have some really, really great kills. I love the score. The flashback scenes I thought were so awesome, especially when I first saw it in theaters. I was shocked. I had no idea that they were going to do any of that. I'm someone that tries to avoid trailers and tries to avoid any bit of previous knowledge going into the movie when I see it. So I was shocked when I saw them perfectly encapsulate 1978's Halloween in that movie. Like, I feel like they did a great job with that. I think the mask looks really good. The way Michael is portrayed in those flashback scenes is really dope, and it makes you really want to say, I want to see a full movie in that way. That would be such a cool thing if they really captured that. Make a sequel to Halloween 1 by actually placing it in 1978. Like, make it basically Halloween 2 all over again, but modern, right? That would be sick. I would have loved that. I think Tommy Doyle is fun. I think he's entertaining. I don't get the hate for him. I thought, he tried his best. He was amped up. He wanted to get Michael, and I respect that he was standing on business. Laurie is sidelined most of the movie, which is kind of bad, I guess you would say, but she did that at Halloween 2 as well. And I'm not the biggest Laurie Strode fan, so I didn't really care. This movie is a good time. It is a fun time. I think it's a little too long, and it's really just that hospital scene. You remove that hospital scene or cut it down dramatically. Dramatically. I think this movie would be a lot higher on most people's lists. Now you'll say, Blake, but the dialogue was horrible. Again, I defended Evil Dies Tonight a little bit. Could you have taken down a few of the Evil Dies Tonight? Sure, but that's kind of the charm of the movie. That's not my issue with the dialogue. I think it's everything else with the dialogue. The melodramatic nature of Halloween Kills on rewatch is becoming more ridiculous. The movie is very melodramatic, but granted, they are going through a traumatic experience, more or less, but the problem with the David Gordon Green trilogy that I always had was they got rid of the brother-sister angle, and they got rid of the Halloween 2 in canon. So from that, you're only basing everything off the very first movie. And in the very first movie, though it is still bad, it shouldn't be as haunted to the town as it is, more or less. It shouldn't make people this crazy. I think if you include Halloween 2, Michael does a lot more damage in Halloween 2, including Halloween 1, than what just he does in Halloween 1. I don't think it warrants the outrageous behavior that Laurie Strode and the whole town has on Michael from the first movie. But it's still fun, it's still charming. It's like a vintage 80s slasher type vibe, kinda. I've heard people say that. But then I've heard people still critique it at the same time. It's like, we love the 80s slashers. So it's like, why are we critiquing this? Now, I'm not saying it's exactly like the 80s slashers, because it tried to do this, I don't know, melodramatic story and add all these different elements to it. And I think the idea, if you're not going to have the Michael brother-sister angle, I think the idea of him wanting to go home, go into his house, and there's something weird building about his house being the essence of his evil and all this stuff. This movie really painted Michael to be an unstoppable force, to be more than a man, and to be, really the embodiment of evil, which I love that aspect of Michael. I love the Michaels that really explore him to be more than a man, like Halloween 4, Halloween 6. I think that is really, really scary, that added that little factor to where you're like, I am unsure. And that's what this movie did, especially in that ending monologue. Sadly, as we know, Halloween Ends does not follow up with anything that they set up in Halloween Kills. They completely erase it, and they make him a joke in Halloween Ends, which is why I hate Halloween Ends. I think Halloween Kills built you up for something so epic to follow through with in Halloween Ends, but they just had no idea how to follow up with it, and so they didn't even try. So that makes me really mad, and I originally blamed Halloween Ends solely for that, and I still mainly do. But over time, I am starting to it started to mess with my experience with Halloween Kills. Not because I'm like fully, well, I know where it ends up, so this is all a waste of time. But almost. It's a shame because in Halloween Kills, I feel like they set you up for such a adrenaline rush ride that asks you so many questions to the audience that goes, what does this mean? What does that mean? Where is this building to? I want the answers, and I'm excited to explore that. And as you're going through this movie, and it's doing all this setup. That's the thing. It's Michael killing everyone off, and then it's set up for something big in the future. And the fact that we never get this payoff is really unfortunate. And not to compare it with like something like Across the Spider-Verse, but that's like the example of like if Beyond the Spider-Verse completely like bombs and doesn't follow through with a cross setup in their ending, because we know that left more on like a cliffhanger type vibe, right? That would be unfortunate. The Halloween Kills is still fun enough. You can watch it as its one own thing, and it's not that serious of a story to where it's like, oh, we really need to know these answers in the most important matter, like this is life or death. No, at the end of the day, it is a silly, carnage candy filled slasher movie full on and through. It's just Michael going all out. It's basically Jason Voorhees' version of Michael, which I love Jason Voorhees, so I'm fine with that. And I hear some people are like, oh, this is basically Michael acting like Jason. Well, they're somewhat comparable, and in this movie, I'm cool with it. Like, I wanted to see a Michael just go all out and do his thing, and this is the movie that does that. But yeah, I need to revisit some other movies in the franchise. Halloween is the one franchise that I am so fluid with my opinion. Like, I have changed my opinion on pretty much all of these movies consistently so many times, besides maybe my top one or two. Now, every other movie I have had, my number 3 has been as low as 9 or 10. My number 4 has been as low as 9 or 10. And vice versa. My 7 has switched to my 3. My 8 has switched to my 4. It is ridiculous how much my opinion changes on the Halloween movies. And that's because each movie has a lot of pros and a lot of cons. And that's the funny thing about people hating Halloween Kills, is that there's something to hate in every Halloween movie, but there's also something to love in every Halloween movie. So it's pretty much boils down to like, what is your preference? What matters to you more? What boxes do you need checked off to make you enjoy a Halloween movie? And for me, it depends on the mood I'm in. It depends on the year I'm in, the time of the year I'm in, based off other movies that I watch and maybe change my opinion, or maybe you just get sick of a certain thing. And that's what I think has happened to me with Halloween Kills right now. Sadly, is I'm somewhat sick of it. I still appreciate the good moments, but the highs of this movie, which I really praised for the longest time, aren't as high as they used to be. It's not doing as much for me right now. So I don't know where it's going to end up on my ranking. I need to rewatch a few movies to see how much this movie dropped. I originally had this movie at a 4.5 for the longest time, with the urge to make it a 5-star movie. There was a point where I said that whole hospital scene, I said if you fix that and remove that completely, it'd be a 5-star Halloween movie. And maybe it could be, right, from Halloween standards, but it never could because of that. And I don't even know if I can keep it at a 4.5 anymore. I've recently lowered it more to a 4-star through my letterbox and stuff like that. But I still like it more than that. So I'm leading my Halloween Kills rating to be a 4.25. I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to go halfway. 4.25 is my rating for Halloween Kills out of 5 stars. I could go 4.5 on a good day. I could go 4 stars on a bad day. So clearly, I still really love this movie. I'm not going lower to 4 stars. I don't care what y'all have to say. This movie has so many great moments, and getting Michael right, getting the kills right, getting the music right, and having some really cool shots, that matters more to me than some other silly dialogue or maybe some over-the-top comments or nature from certain characters. It's really just that hospital scene that really needs to just get cut out of the movie and make this an hour and a half movie. And because that was like a 15-minute stretch. Remove that completely. The pacing, it's a roller coaster. You have to be in the mood to go on the ride, because once it starts, it never lets up. And That's what I loved about it, especially from a theater experience. I think this is a great theater movie, but over time, if you want more of the slow burn, pace it, or maybe just let the characters flesh themselves out a little bit more, that's why I'm starting to have more fun with maybe other Halloween movies than I didn't before. Because I'm not in the mood for a go 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 movie, but when I am in the mood for it, it's awesome, and this is the one catered to that audience. So that's just my thoughts. What is your opinion of Halloween Kills? Do you like it? Is it one of your favorites in the franchise? Is it in your top five? Or is it in your bottom five? Or is it somewhere in the middle? I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Did you love it when the movie came out and you're like me and you're starting to not be as big on it? Or are you the opposite? Did you hate on it at first, but over time you're like, wow, this movie's really fun and just a good time? I would love to get all your thoughts about it. To me, if you think this is like the worst of the franchise, I think that's a little ridiculous because Michael's too good, the music's too good, the kills, it's all too good for it to be the worst of the franchise. And you also have the really cool flashback scenes. So, how can you put it at your last two in the franchise? If you have it somewhere at the bottom half, that's cool, but I don't know. I think it's a good time. You let me know what you think in the comments below.